This video will provide a very quick introduction into anarchism. If you haven't already watched our video, What is Socialism? I highly suggest that you do that first, because it will give a lot of the foundational knowledge that would be helpful to understand for this video, though it's not required. So let's dive into some quotes. The first is a quote from Emma Goldman in her essay, Anarchism, What It Really Stands For. She says, "Anarchism, the philosophy of a new social order based on liberty unrestricted by man-made law. The theory that all forms of government rest on violence, and are therefore wrong and harmful, as well as unnecessary." So that's what Emma Goldman has to say, her brief definition of anarchism. Now let's go to the next one, which is probably the most commonly used definition of anarchism, and it is from Peter Kropotkin in his Encyclopedia Britannica entry on anarchism. Like I said, this is the most famous definition used. We'll read a brief quote from there. He says, "A principle or theory of life and conduct under which a society is conceived without government. Harmony in such a society being obtained not by submission to law or by obedience to any authority, but by free agreements between the various groups, territorial and professional, freely constituted for the sake of production and consumption, as also for the satisfaction of the infinite variety of needs and aspirations of a civilized being. The anarchists conceive a society in which all the mutual relations of its members are regulated, not by laws nor by authorities, whether self-imposed or elected, but by mutual agreements between members of that society and by a sum of social customs and habits, not petrified by law, routine, or superstition, but continually developed and continually readjusted in accordance with the ever-growing requirements of a free life stimulated by the progress of science, invention, and the steady growth of higher ordeals." So again, that's Peter Kropotkin in his Encyclopedia Britannica entry on anarchism, written in 1910. Still to this day, honestly, probably one of the most cited definitions of anarchism. Both of these, Emma Goldman and Peter Kropotkin, both of these definitions basically describe a society where the relationships between the members of a society are dictated by mutual assistance and voluntary association, rather than laws and regulations and authority and force. Yet somehow when most people think of anarchism, they think of those very things, violence and sort of the chaos and so on. So let's break down a little bit about why people have those definitions. The term anarchy actually originates in ancient Greece, and it actually is used as a pejorative to describe democracy. And the claim there is that democracy, the rule of the majority, would result in chaos. It would result in anarchy. The question is, why do we still use that today when very clearly evidenced by our quotes from Goldman and Kropotkin, that's not how the modern anarchists make use of that term? The answer really is that it serves an ideological function. That as long as we keep people thinking that anarchy is some sort of chaos, in fact, we even have, right, we think of The Purge, and I think even the Purge series has one of their, the films is called Anarchy, right, if I remember correctly. It serves an ideological function. As long as we keep people thinking that anarchy is associated to chaos, then they will not respect it as a legitimate political position. I have to stress, though, that this is a highly Western and very specifically American usage of the term anarchy and anarchism. This view that anarchism results in chaos for, I think, very obvious reasons. A, the United States is incredibly capitalistic, and the anarchists want the deconstruction of capitalism, which we will talk about in a second. We have to understand that in other parts of the world, Spain is the perfect example, but in other industrialized countries, anarchism is respected as a legitimate political philosophy. The United States doesn't have a very lengthy and rich history of anarchist thought and of anarchism, like, I'll use Spain as the example again, like as does Spain. They still to this day have a very rich current of anarchist thinking and anarchist philosophy and anarchist efforts throughout the country of Spain, not to mention the revolution in the 1930s, the Spanish Revolution. So understand that in the United States, we're kind of this very unique bubble where we still use this pejorative discourse surrounding anarchism and anarchy. So keep that in mind. Also understand, if we're going to sort of shed that discourse and really analyze anarchism as a political philosophy, we have to understand what these two terms are. Anarchism is the philosophy. Anarchy is the type of society that the anarchists want to bring into being. So to go back to Goldman and Kropotkin, this society defined by voluntary association, mutual assistance, not dominated by authority and violence, that would be defined as anarchy according to the anarchists. So it's interesting that people that are, I think, try to denigrate anarchism use this term anarchy as a pejorative, like, well, that would just result in anarchy. Well, for the anarchist, yes, of course, that's the very goal of anarchism, is anarchy. But not anarchy in the chaotic sense, which is the negative uses of the term, but anarchy in the positive sense, which is freedom, essentially. Freedom from authority, freedom from violence, voluntarily associating with our fellow citizens, and so on. That's anarchy for the anarchist, and that's really, really important for us to understand. Next, we should understand that all anarchism is socialist, and this is incredibly complicated. We'll just briefly cover it in this video. But if you watched our video on socialism, you remember the very fundamental tenets of socialism, and I'll go over them just quickly here. The first is worker control of the means of production. The second is the abolition of private property. Every thread of anarchism believes in those two fundamental tenets: abolition of private property, worker control of the means of production, of industry, essentially. So keep that in mind. The anarchists agree with that. They agree with those two fundamental things. The socialists want the abolition of private property because it can be used by the bourgeoisie to exploit the workers. The anarchists want the abolition of private property because private property itself is exploitative. So that's what the anarchists believe about private property. That if I claim ownership over something, it immediately removes someone else's freedoms. And so that would be the anarchist's perspective on private property. And you can think of, let's say there was no private property and someone invented it, and basically let's say there's 5 people existing in this territory, and one person comes up with the idea, putting up a fence and saying, this is now mine. Well, that very clearly limits the freedom of the other 4 people. They no longer have the use of that land. So for the anarchist, private property is just inherently exploitative, inherently authoritative, inherently violent, and so on. And so they seek the abolition of private property there. So understand that all anarchism is socialist, and understand that anarchism is often referred to as libertarian socialism, and the Marxist socialist tradition is often called authoritarian socialism. Now that can be a pejorative or not, but just understand that we can break up socialism into basically 2 schools of thought. Authoritarian socialism, which is Marxist, and libertarian socialism, which is anarchist. Now, when we use the term libertarian to describe socialism, we here in the United States have to erase the concept of sort of right-wing libertarianism. That is a very American thing. No other country really has the same concept of right-wing libertarianism, or at the very least, it's not called libertarianism. Everywhere else in the world, if you use the term libertarianism, they would assume that you were talking about anarchism. Only here in the United States has libertarianism been perverted to mean this other thing, which we commonly think of in the U.S. So understand, when we say libertarian socialism, this is not a right-wing ideology. This is very much a socialist ideology. And every other country in the world, they would assume that that's how you're using the term. So we have to sort of unwind our American way of thinking of the term libertarian when we talk about libertarian socialism. Very 2 different things, obviously. Okay, so what's the main difference between anarchism and Marxism? We first have to go back and remember the Marxists' idea for how the revolution from capitalism to socialism will go down. So remember that for Marx and Engels originally in Orthodox Marxism, we transitioned from capitalism to the lower stage of communism and then onto the higher stage of communism. That verbiage changes when we get to Lenin and Stalin, and it goes from capitalism to socialism to communism. So just keep in mind that's the original Marxist conception of how this revolution will go down. The anarchists and the Marxists, this is important to understand, want the same end. They both seek the higher stage. of communism. They both seek a society with mutual agreement, egalitarianism, no state authority, and so on. The fundamental difference is the means through which that end is achieved. Where the socialists seek to take control of the state and use that to implement socialist policies, the Marxists, the anarchists seek to destroy the state from the get-go. So the anarchist revolution happens through the destruction of the state, whereas the Marxist revolution happens through the seizing of the state and the using of its power to benefit the proletariat. This is the fundamental difference. This really comes to a head through an intellectual debate between Karl Marx and Mikhail Bakunin. And I'm just going to read a quote from Bakunin and you'll get an idea of the basics of this debate. So Bakunin says, "I detest communism because it is the negation of liberty. I cannot conceive of humanity without liberty. I am not a communist because communism concentrates and absorbs all the powers of society in the state. It necessarily ends with the concentration of property in the hands of the state. I, on the other hand, want the abolition of the state, the radical elimination of the principle of authority and tutelage of the state. Under the pretext of making men moral and civilized, the state has enslaved, oppressed, exploited, and corrupted them. I want the organization of society and collective social property by free association from the bottom up, not by authority from the top down." So that basically, that one single quote outlines the anarchist problem with the Marxist socialist tradition and their goals for the revolution. The anarchists believe fundamentally, at least most of them, I guess we're generalizing here, but most anarchists believe that power corrupts. So the idea is that the second that the proletariat seized the state and we had a dictatorship of the proletariat, they would then be the state that the anarchists would have to fight. So remember that term, the dictatorship of the proletariat. This is the lower stage of communism where the proletariat have power over the state. The anarchists have a huge problem with this, and they are fundamentally against the dictatorship of the proletariat. And they seek the destruction of the state from the get-go rather than the seizing of the state. So let's look at just a few different threads of anarchism. We won't touch on all of them. There are many resources that you can look at to go into the specifics of all of the different schools of thought. We'll just cover a few here so we can get a general idea. The first is anarcho-communism. Anarchist communism proposes that the freest form of social organization would be a society composed of self-managing communes with collective use of the means of production, organized democratically and using consensus decision-making, and related to other communes through federation. In anarchist communism, there would be no money, but everyone would have free access to the resources and surplus of the communism. Anarchist communism is thus said to operate on a gift economy. That actually comes from the anarchism subreddit, It's Wiki, which is actually incredibly good in understanding all of the different threads of anarchist thought. Okay, so that's anarchist communism. Let's talk about collectivism. Collectivism, and this comes from the same subreddit, the Wiki in the anarchism subreddit. Collectivist anarchism is similar to anarchist communism, except for the fact that in collectivism, workers would be compensated for their work on the basis of the amount of time they contributed to production, rather than goods being distributed according to need, as in anarcho-communism. Some collectivist anarchists do not oppose the use of currency. Some support workers being paid based on the amount of time they contribute to production. These salaries would be used to purchase commodities in a communal market. So the main difference between anarcho-communism and collectivist anarchism is that anarcho-communism is basically from each according to his ability to each according to his need, and collectivism would be from each according to his ability to each according to his contribution. So that's the fundamental difference between those two schools of thought within anarchism. Okay, let's talk about mutualism. Mutualist anarchism is concerned with reciprocity, free association, voluntary contract, federation, and credit and currency reform. Many mutualists believe a market without government intervention drives prices down to labor costs, eliminating profit, rent, and interest according to the labor theory of value. Firms would be forced to compete over workers just as workers compete over firms, raising wages. Some see mutualism as between individualist and collectivist anarchism. Now, it's important to note that while mutualists believe in a market, they do not believe in private property. So that's key. No anarchists believe in private property. Okay, let's talk about individualist anarchism, of which egoism is one specific thread. So if you're into Max Stirner, your egoism falls underneath this bucket. So individualist anarchism refers to several traditions of thought within the anarchist movement that emphasize the individual and their will over any kinds of external determinants, such as groups, society, traditions, and ideological systems. Benjamin R. Tucker, a famous 19th century individualist anarchist, held that if the individual has the right to govern himself, all external government is tyranny. Though it's important for us to understand that even individualist anarchists are socialists in that they support worker control of industry and the abolition of private property. So keep that in mind. That's important for us to understand. A key to understanding anarchism is to understand the anarchist conception of the state. So I highly suggest that you watch our short video titled, "What is the State?" when we go through some different quotes, some different conceptions of how people from this viewpoint and from Marxist socialism think about the state.